Whoa, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks. I'm Alisha.
And I'm Kadesha.
And I'm Naomi. And we are Wisdom on the Wall. So I need everybody to do me a favor because I know I'm not the only one. We all had some stuff going on this week. So this is what I want you to do. Take a deep breath.
Ooh.
And let that thing out.
Ooh.
One more time, sisters and brothers. Take a deep breath. And let that thing out. Don't you just feel so much better?
Yes.
I do.
Leave it that one.
So we want to welcome everybody to the second episode of When Wisdom Talks. First, I want to thank Alisha and Kadesha and also myself. We want to thank everybody who tuned in for our premiere last week. Y'all outdid yourselves. So here you go. Y'all outdid yourselves. We had so much support, so much great feedback. And so we just want to say thank you. And again, welcome if you're just tuning in. This episode of When Wisdom Talks is sponsored by Wisdom on the Wall and Be Inspired Global. We have partnered together to bring you this amazing show tonight, and you won't be disappointed. And also, like always, we just want to let you know what our mission is, and it is to empower women and men to live better and wiser through engaging discussions, fun activities. You know, we always keeping it fun, and inspiring special guest interviews. And so with that, I turn it over to Kadesha.
Yes. So we are in the second week of February. So we want to keep this thing centered around love. We definitely want to highlight some African-American pioneers for Black History Month. We want you to get to know us. You know, this is a time where we want to engage with you. We did hear your feedback. So we do want to have some discussions. We want you to post your questions and just bear with us, okay? As we ride this wave, this is a new journey for us. So if we don't get to every question, don't charge it to our heart, okay? But we want to engage with you. And of course, we always want to just give you some wisdom, some insight. That's just who we are, okay? But before we get into the show, you know how we do. Go ahead and share our page, right? We want to go ahead and make sure we're spreading the good news, if you will. But go ahead and share. It takes 1 second just to share with a friend. You can do it in your messenger, share it on your page, or if you're a part of groups, go ahead and share it. We also want you to do 2 things for us. Like our page, When Wisdom Talks on Instagram. That's number 1. Number 2 is subscribe to our YouTube page. The more subscribers we have, the more perks we're able to have, and the more we're able to spread the gospel on YouTube. If you go ahead and subscribe over there. So I do have a few questions for you. I want to know who tuned in last week.
Yes.
Who was at the premiere of When Wisdom Talks, and if you were there, what was one of your aha moments? What did you learn from us? And maybe, ladies, you know, what did you take away from last week's episode?
Oh, wow. I personally when we did the discussion on relationships and, you know, what's the name of the show again?
Marriage at First Sight.
Oh my gosh. First of all, there's so much you can take away from that show about learning what you want in a relationship, learning about yourself as it pertains to relationships. So I think that was probably one of the most exciting parts, was really talking about the relationships piece. And of course, you know, I'm a huge advocate for marriage and all things family.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because I get to talk about love all day long.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that was my favorite segment as well, Married at First Sight, because that show is just interesting, to say the least. It has twists and turns. So I enjoyed that, and really also enjoying the feedback that we were getting from the viewing audience. So it was a great premiere.
Yes. And I think it was good to know that men were tuned in as well.
Yes.
So, you know, that helps us to tailor some of our content. So men, if you're out there, we want to welcome you. We definitely want you to share it with the women in your life, but we know that you can glean some wisdom from us as well. Hey, Miss Cotton, ma'am, you were definitely on the show last week. Okay. Because every other comment was Miss Cotton, and we so appreciate your love, your support, your encouragement. So Jean, we love you to the moon and to the back.
Claudia!
Hey, Claudia.
Healing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hey, Carolyn. Carolyn was in the building. I love it. I love it. I love it. I enjoyed the show. You ladies work so well together. We appreciate you. Oh, she's phenomenal. Who remembers, and maybe I think Claudia would know this one, but who remembers the product that I talked about last week? I'll give you a little hint. It originated in Europe, and you can eat it hot or cold. Oh my goodness. Claudia, I'm almost certain you're going to be the only one that can remember that one. But ladies and gents, we are going to get ready, right on head on into the show. It is definitely time for you to learn a little bit more about the women behind Wisdom on the Wall. Go ahead and take it away, Alisha.
All righty. Thank you, Kadesha. So for those of you who were with us last week during our show's premiere, you know, we have a little fun way to get to know us a little better by way of our Girl, what's your story box of questions? But before we actually jump in our Q&A segment tonight, we just want to take a moment to share our bio posts that we shared on social media leading up to the premiere last week. And we're going to introduce each other, and I get to go first. I am so privileged and honored to be able to introduce to some and present to others. This is Live on Purpose, Kadesha. Kadesha Carroll is the founder, visionary, and CEO of Wisdom on the Wall, Incorporated. God gave Kadesha a vision to put together a book to empower women, where her obedience to God not only yielded a book, but also allowed God to provide us with a ministry to be birthed out of that, which is Wisdom on the Wall, Incorporated. Yay! And now because of her... Thank you, Naomi. Oh, I love it. And now because of her continued yes, God has blessed the ministry with this talk show, When Wisdom Talks. Kadesha is a faith walker, a purpose igniter. She's an author, a millionaire in the making.
Yes.
And she's an entrepreneur. So please join me in giving it up for my sister, 1/3 of the Wisdom on the Wall trio and host of When Wisdom Talks, Mrs. Kadesha Carroll.
Thank you, Miss Adams.
I love it.
So I have the privilege of introducing you to Miss Naomi Burrell. She is our Chief Media Officer and our Chief Fun Officer of Wisdom on the Wall. She is affectionately known to the extended media industry as Miss Be Inspired, a moniker she truly lives up to. She is a loving mother of 2 kids, okay? One and 2 kids, and a devoted wife. Without a doubt, family is a top priority for Naomi. She loves smiling, which you'll see on the show. She loves to make you laugh. Most of all, she loves, her heart is so pure, and she loves the Lord. She
Amen.
can also be found working alongside her hubby in producing media projects for Be Inspired Global, the media company that they co-own. She's an author, a dynamic writer and journalist, a leading industry media mogul. Did we say the girl had 2 kids? Motivated entrepreneur. The girl's plate is full, and she is a candidate for a PhD program.
Yes. Woo, woo, woo.
Please give it up for my girl, my sister, my friend, 1/3 of Wisdom on the Wall Trio, and host of When Wisdom Talks, Miss Naomi Burrell, aka Miss Be Inspired.
Woo. I love it. Oh my goodness.
Y'all know I love that applause button, right?
Yes.
Well, I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing Alisha. Alisha Adams. Listen, this is our girl right here, okay? She is the Chief Financial Officer of Wisdom on the Wall, but we affectionately call her Payroll. She keeps us all the way together, and we love it. She's super organized, and we love it. Alisha is a true woman of excellence. She has been blessed to teach wealth strategies to all who are willing to learn. She is resourceful, and she has a $1 million mindset. And check this out, and $1 million smile to match.
Yeah.
Woo.
I love it.
Yes, indeed. She is anointed to create affirmations that, when used, undoubtedly attracts prosperity. I know some of you have some of her affirmations, and I know you can testify that it's been a blessing to you, and me too. She's an award-winning author, wealth encourager, entrepreneur, and dynamic teacher. Please, let's give it up for 1/3 of Wisdom on the Wall, and also one of the wonderful hosts of When Wisdom Talks, Alisha Adams.
Yay. You are too cute. I love it. I love it. Well, that was a great job, ladies. So before I actually pull a question out of our girl, what's your story box? While you get to learn about us, we also want to learn about you, our viewing audience. So as we go through these questions, we may hit 1, maybe 2 tonight, depending on the time. But as we go through the question, we want you to also answer the question as well. So go ahead and hit your answer up in the chat, and we'll be checking that as well. So I'm going to shake our little trusty box up and see what question we come up with tonight. Oh, Lord, here we go. All right. The question is, what's the most thoughtful gift you've ever received?
Oh, wow. I don't know if it's the most thoughtful, but I can say one of the most recent thoughtful. Can I switch it up a little bit like that?
Okay.
So this past, well, actually last Mother's Day, I can't believe it's almost been a year. Oh my gosh. But last Mother's Day, I had been talking about I wanted this gazebo for I don't know how long. I've been wanting this gazebo. And so we finally purchased it, but we had not put it up yet. And so talking to my husband, I was like, you know what? I'd love to have that gazebo up for the summer so we can be out just grilling and having a good time. So I went away on Mother's Day to another event. And the kids and everybody, my husband, they were like, when you coming home? I said, I'll be home shortly, Mind you, they were happy that I was gone so they could do whatever they needed to do. So anyway, long story short, when I came back home, the gazebo was all set up. And also, in addition to that, we had an outdoor movie night, which was so cool.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Underneath the gazebo, we had the big screen, the projector up, and We were eating good food, and it was just so thoughtful because I put my desire out there to have it up, and when I got home, it was done. So I just thought that was so sweet.
Yes.
Oh, and I remember those pictures, Naomi.
Yes, yeah, I couldn't wait to put them up because I was so excited. I just thought that was so sweet that they did that for me. So that's my story.
Okay. What about you, Alisha? I'm still thinking.
I would say the one that immediately comes to mind is a ring. It was 2 Christmases ago. My aunt gave me, my birthstone is sapphire because I was born September 26th, and she gave me a sapphire ring with diamonds around it. I'm going to have to wear it next week. I don't have it on today. If I'd known that question was going to come up, I would have wore it today. But she knows I love jewelry, and she gave me that, like I said, for Christmas, and I've worn it, and every time I wear it, I get compliments on it. And I know it was just from her lovingness towards me, and it was just thoughtful. It was totally unexpected. So yes, that was my thoughtful gift.
Yeah, so when you say unexpected, the one that comes to mind is the mug. I think I shared with you guys before. The mug that one of my colleagues had bought me. She was in, I don't know, maybe a Marshall's or something similar. And I wish I had it. It's not in this office with me, but this is another cool mug. But she saw the mug and she thought of me, and she sent a picture while she was out in the store. And I was like, I love it. And it has a scripture on there. And I'm trying to think of the scripture, but it basically says, like God is with her and she will never fall or something like that. I'm jacking it up. But and so I keep it right to the actually to the left of my computer. And so whenever I'm having, if I need some encouragement or just having a long day, I'll look to that thing and it will just, be my source of encouragement. So appreciate your choice for thinking of me and getting me something that I can have my hot tea and chocolate in.
Oh,
we have some audience participation, so we have some comments here.
Okay. Miracle Mo. Oh, yes, that's my brother. Hey, bro. He said a second chance of life. He's laughing, but it's so serious. God, one day maybe we'll have him share his testimony, but God gave him a second chance. So that is definitely an awesome gift, Mo.
Yes, absolutely. Aww. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, so somebody said from my son a picture frame with a pic from us telling me thank you for believing in him, and around he told me in his own writing what he believes in me.
Oh, and her son is Malik.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. So love it.
I'm gonna take a few more comments.
Kendra.
One of the most thoughtful gifts I received was paparazzi business kit for my anniversary as a surprise from my hubby because he saw the fun I had selling for a friend.
Go hubby. Kendra said, most thoughtful was a vanity my husband got me. I love makeup and never had a place to sit and apply it. I mentioned it and he remembered that. Now that's awesome. When you can mention something once and your hubby remembers and then he surprises you with it. That's what I'm talking about. Go Kenya's husband.
Woo-hoo!
And one more.
Patricia says, my children gave me a surprise 60th birthday party 3 years ago. Wow.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Okay, one more.
Yeah. I have to throw Mike out there because when you said, Alisha, when you said hubby's, Mike is really, really good at giving gifts. So I just have to shout him out for that because he is definitely one of those ones. If you mention it once, he'll definitely pop up with it. So shout out to Mike for giving good gifts.
Oh, Mike. Oh, and Lavanya says a thumbprint necklace. It had my mom and my kids' fingerprints on it. Now that is unique. I love that. All righty. Thank you for sharing. Oh my goodness.
Y'all got some good gifts.
I know.
We like gifts too, y'all. So feel free.
Right. Too awesome. Well, I think we're going to stop looking at the time now with regards to the Girl, what's your story segment, and we're going to move on. So keeping in mind the fact that we're dealing with this topic of love, Kadesha, what do you have in store for us tonight?
Well, y'all, we're a sucker for love stories. So we have another love story for you. It's called Sylvie's Love. So if you have not seen it, go ahead and get on Amazon Prime. Is that right, y'all?
Yes,
yep, got it.
On Amazon Prime. It actually came out in December. And so basically it's a roller coaster ride of a romance. Definitely roller coaster. So put your seatbelt on, between Sylvie and Robert. And the love would actually be a little bit more beautiful if Sylvie wasn't engaged and then didn't get married. So what happened was she had this summer romance with Robert, but she decided, as we sometimes do, to suppress those feelings and end up marrying another man because of his social status and looking for the validation from her mother. How many of us have done some things trying to please other people, right?
Things.
So, plural.
You say hands up.
Right. So finally, she decides after some years in her marriage, she's like, you know what? I'm tired of playing this perfect role as a perfect wife. I'm tired of living other people's dreams. I want to go after my own dreams. So we have a clip for you. And then, of course, we're going to talk about it. We're pretty sure you're going to be pretty chatty about this one. So we'll make sure we'll take some questions and some comments when we're done.
Yes.
I'm really impressed. I've been around my share of television studios, and you really know your stuff.
I suppose I do.
What?
I don't know, you really are something. May I have the pleasure of this dance, Miss Johnson? The band got a gig in Paris, so come with me.
What if we don't work out? I need to be the woman of my dreams, not just yours. Robert.
Sylvie?
Woo wee. Like Kadesha said, if you haven't seen this movie, you definitely have to check this thing out. I mean, there were so many themes interwoven within this movie that we're going to have some great discussions tonight. And I want to kick it off with a question in terms of how big of a role would you say social, financial, and or professional status should play in your selection of a mate?
Ooh.
How big of a role should it play?
What y'all feeling?
What y'all feeling your spirits?
Oh my goodness.
I guess I can go. So my story is I didn't see myself as getting married as early as I did. I got married at 23. I wanted to be this corporate professional. I wanted to travel the world, but God had other plans. Okay. So I married my husband at 23. I wouldn't change it at all. But because we were so young, there were a lot of things that we didn't have in place and we had to build together. The fact that we were young, we had the energy and the time to do that. But I imagine as you get older or more mature, you might want to consider, this is my thought process, what someone else is bringing to the table. And I think that's true. Even in early marriages, when you're young, or it doesn't matter which stage in life you are, it's about what you want and what that person is bringing to the table and what you're willing to invest in a relationship. But I definitely think that each party should be bringing something to the table, something that you both can build on, whatever that is. Or we can, this some fun. Look,
show me the money. Show me the money, honey.
Like, yes. Somebody wanted to know what's the question, so I guess we should repeat it for anybody who might be just joining.
Absolutely. So the question was, how big of a role, if any, should social, financial, and or professional status have in making a decision of the selection of a mate?
Now, who can type that in for us? Yeah. Because that sure enough is a mouthful.
I know, right? Carolyn, don't want to be poor, but I choose unconditional love every time. All righty now.
And then we have one more comment to that question.
Kendra says, not a showstopper role, but important to know how this will affect us at some point in our relationship. And similar to you, Naomi, we wasn't as young as 23. I believe I was maybe 26 when I got married. But for me, it was all about my husband's heart. You know, I'm a giver, so I want to share that with someone who loves giving. And one thing that I always remember about my husband, I always tell people about this story, is on our honeymoon, we went to Jamaica and was eating some good breakfast. But I think one of the servers or somebody who worked in a restaurant wanted, they complimented Mike on his jeans or shorts or something. And Mike ended up giving him those shorts. And so that's like the type of person I was seeking out, right? And I think, you know, sometimes, not to say that that was probably always my priority. You know, I'm sure a little bit younger, I had some other goals and things of that nature and what you think you want in a mate. But it's like, for me, at the end of the day, it's about your heart towards God, your heart towards me. And you know what they say back in the day, how does he treat his mom? So, you know, all of that stuff, the social status, you know, what we see in the movie, that's never really been my thing. It's just about how good your heart is. So,
yeah, I have to, you want to take that comment?
Yeah, Jean says, I think they should all play a role, but it may depend on where you are in life and your level of maturity. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge. Because what I was going to say, similar to what you were saying, Kadesha, is that, you know, I thank God that I never had a circle that was concerned with, you know, what your social status was and how much you make. Because we know there are groups like that where that's the biggest question. Oh, well, what does he do? What does she do? How much does that person make? But it goes back to, like you said, the heart. First and foremost, you know, when I look at where I am right now, the biggest thing is, does he truly have a personal relationship with God? You know, and I'm not just saying that, but that is huge because, you know, if he has that horizontal relationship, like we kind of talked about before, you know, if he knows how to get a prayer through, that is like the most awesome thing there is. And to know that, you know, you're in a relationship and you're married to somebody who can pray it up for you, you know, when you can't do it for yourself. And I also believe that, you know, if the finances aren't there, and again, yes, you do want somebody to come to the table with something, with some level of stability so that you're not taking care of everything, but just knowing that, you know, you have two prayer warriors come together, whatever you need, you can pray down the resources, you know. So I think that is the biggest thing for me. And then again, just a pure heart of love, because no matter what happens in life, whatever we go through, just knowing that we have the love of each other and the love of God, we could get through whatever situation and circumstance. So that's where I am at this point in time.
We have one other comment too from Kenya. She said, strong work ethic for me.
That's huge.
That's really huge, because even if you don't have it all together when you come together, that person will at least put in the work to do it.
Yes.
To build whatever it is you need to build that wealth or build that life.
Absolutely.
So that work ethic is definitely important.
Yeah, look, it's like you're not gonna get up to work and he's still sleeping in the bed. Nah, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Wake up, I say.
Wake up. It's like, act like you're doing something.
Honey, get dressed, brush them feet, brush that hair. Okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Clean the house for a couple of hours. All right.
Oh my goodness gracious. I love it. So that kind of brings up the question, what would be a deal breaker for you in a relationship? What would be a deal breaker?
Wait, are we talking about before we get into a relationship or while we in it?
While you're in it now. So now you done transgressed into the relationship. What would be a deal breaker for you?
And even taking it a step further, are we talking about marriage or are we talking about just boyfriend and girlfriend?
It could be that too.
You could talk, I'm about to say, it's wherever you are with that. So, you know, that's the question. What would be a deal breaker? And I guess I'll go first. The two biggest things for me, the first one would be cheating. Because for me, when I look at cheating, is an indication of a lack of integrity in many cases, and a lack of trustworthiness. And so for me, that would be a deal breaker. And the second one is abuse of any kind, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, because to me, when a person is an abuser, that means there's a lack of control. And when a person doesn't have control of their emotions and of themselves, then the issue becomes that person is dangerous. Looks like we have a consent right there. Kenya said physical abuse. Michelle, cheating, abuse. Yep.
That's good, Alisha.
Michelle said, yes, I know that's right. What about you two?
I think.
Okay, go ahead.
I think for me is we have to be on the same page in at least our belief in God. So I remember before I got married, I was entertaining someone who I think he was a Buddhist, and I knew that it just wasn't going to go far, right? So I was already somewhat strong in my faith. So it's one of those things that you have to decide if you're going to compromise who you are to follow their flow. So that's one. Two, I believe I do share your same sentiments in terms of cheating. At least I did, as I was younger. Not to say that I would be okay with it now, but I think I am wise enough to know when I can pray, when I need to stay, not trying to rhyme, but, I know what my prayers can do. So if I was ever in that position, it would be one of those things in which I would pray and seek God's guidance, because we never know. And that's the thing. God gives each of us different instructions for our respective relationships. I always think about the story of Hosea in the Bible. He had a mandate to stay and love his wife, because that's how God was going to express his love to the nation. And he needed them to understand, this is how I love you. And so that's an unconditional love that I pray I never had to experience. But, I trust that if I do, it's something that God will be able to, help me to pray through and put the right people around me that, could help get me through.
Sorry.
No, I want to say for me, it's definitely abuse. Because I've seen women in my family, or even had stories told to me about women in my family who suffered at the hands of abuse. Yeah. My grandmother on my father's side was one. Not to go into detail about it, but those who are in the family know. I've seen even my mother deal with verbal abuse. So at one point I was very militant about it when I was younger. But I have a little bit more compassion in terms of those that are being just the whole situation, and understanding, that in a lot of ways it's a mental illness. This person needs help. And as the person being abused, it's not your job to fix them. Not your job to fix them. So definitely abuse of any kind, whether it's verbal, and I joined a lot of the ladies who are saying the same thing, emotional, whatever kind, that's a deal breaker.
Absolutely.
Because that's a cycle hard to break. Once you start that's a cycle that is very difficult to break.
And the thing that comes up for me with that is, especially if you have children. So now you have children viewing this, and you think about the female child thinking that this is what she's supposed to deal with. And then you have the male child thinking that this is how I'm supposed to be in a relationship. So like you said, it becomes a vicious cycle, not just between the two of them, but now it's generational, because you're passing it on to your children. So there has to be somebody to break that cycle.
Amen. Patricia says, I'm just praying for God to send me the one he has for me.
I'm with you, Patricia. Amen. We'll pray for each other.
And a lot of the other comments are just agreeing with what we're saying and things like that.
Yes. Do you guys have any questions in the chat? Definitely post your questions as it relates to relationships. I know we have a mixed bag, some single, some married. So definitely, if you have any, post them. I have my eye out for them, and so does Naomi.
Kendra said dishonesty. Yes, That's huge.
It is huge.
And that right there can come in so many different forms, you know. But I agree with that for sure.
But you mentioned that, Naomi, in terms of different forms, when Kendra said dishonesty, with me and the money, I'm thinking there's something called financial infidelity. So you have dishonesty when it comes to how people are handling money. So you have somebody financially out there spending money, racking up debt, maybe gambling, and the other person don't even know about it. So yeah, dishonesty comes in different packages and forms. Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about cheating, Alisha. So I know one of the things that did take place in the movie was her being unfaithful to her husband. And so, what do you guys think in the chat? Is there a double standard when it comes to cheating? Is it more acceptable for women than it is for men? And, if I have any men out there, Mo, if you're still out there, definitely, respond to this. Would you be willing to forgive someone who cheated on you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'll say this, and you just never know what you're going to do until you're in that situation. Sure. I've heard a lot of people say, let that happen to me and I'm leaving. But for some, and I know a lot of people are going to say, no, that's a deal breaker. And it depends on you. I agree. But there is an instance where, again, you don't know what you would do unless you were in that situation. All that's been invested, the time, the love between you. Is it something that can be healed through counseling? So I think there are variables that need to be considered in that type of situation. But again, it is from person to person. What are you willing to be able to put up with? And the voices that you have in your life mean something as well. The people that are encouraging you or that you talk to that are close to you. Make sure you have people in your corner that's like, girl, just leave them. They don't understand the situation. You need prayed up people in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other people who are married and can give you some advice on what to do. So, like I say, you never know what you would do unless you put in that situation.
I know that's right. I was going to say what hit me with that is I would have emphatically said no. I didn't think it was a double standard until I watched the movie and I realized that I was so caught up in the movie and that like I was rooting for their love, but then I had to take a step back and I was like, wait a minute, Alisha, this girl's cheating. Like, what she's doing is not right. And I had to check myself because I said to myself, if it was a guy doing what she did, it would have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I was so caught up in, oh my God, I hope they get together, negating the fact that, she was intimate with him and she was in a committed relationship. So I think in a sense there may be somewhat of a little double standard when it comes to that, but you really got to check yourself about it because cheating is cheating. Whether she initiates it or he initiates it, cheating is cheating. So
I agree. I definitely think that men are probably more forgiving to women as we are, or than we would be to them. But I also think that society makes it okay for men to have multiple women. Like it's the cool thing to do, right? So, it's those factors that plays into not necessarily us, but I think about the youth as they're dating and, what they find acceptable and what role models they have. And when you're looking at these movies and, looking at some of the celebrities that they look up to, they may find it like it's okay to cheat, and it's totally not. Like, I still believe in one man, one woman. That's how it should be.
Absolutely. Miracle Mo, I got divorced.
So Miracle Mo says, I got divorced before, and now I don't see myself getting married again. So that was a comment. You didn't ask a question, but I will comment back to your comment, Mo. I think whenever you enter into a relationship is one of those things, and someone had just commented, I think maybe Candace had just said something about allowing the person to heal. So it's just important that you yourself go through a healing process, and make sure that you're not bringing any baggage into that new relationship. But it's also going in with an open mind, right? Because it's not fair to that person if you engage in another relationship that you haven't fully committed yourself to them. So it's just about taking anything, like we always talk about, taking it by faith and walking by faith. And that's what you would have to do into that next relationship, is believing that God is, like Patricia said, God's going to send you the one for you. And he'll give you the tools and the resources to sustain that relationship, like we talked about last week. But it is important, I think, for you to revisit, maybe some of those areas in which didn't work and wasn't successful in your last marriage, and make sure you kind of work on and iron those kinks.
That was one quick thing I wanted to say about that as well. In terms of the healing is huge. And the other piece of it is learning from it, because both people, whether we want to, admit or not, both people have something in terms of what caused that marriage to demise. So you have to really look back at what is the lesson learned, so that you can heal from it and then know what not to do when you go into your next relationship. So
Absolutely. That's good.
So Kendra said, I think infidelity can definitely be forgiven, but I think you must redefine your relationship going forward. So that's another perspective, which I think, again, I tend to agree with that. But it depends. Like I said, it's from person to person, and it depends on what your threshold is. And there are variables that should be considered. Is this something that can be addressed through counseling? Is this something that you both want? I mean, there are a lot of things to think about. But for some, it's a deal breaker, and I understand.
And I think it goes back again to the heart of the person, right? So if this person is enjoying living this life of infidelity and has no intention to change, then what is the point? So, I think it's just about their intent and their heart.
Wow.
Let's see. Does this statement still mean anything? To have and to hold, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. I think that may be my hubby. Hey, babe. Mike got to take us back to the word.
You gotta preach.
I know, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Take us to them vows.
Absolutely. It still holds a lot of weight. At least it should.
Yeah. Claudia says, I believe you have to forgive and heal your heart. Also, he or she should be healed as well. Absolutely. You need two whole people. Absolutely.
Yes. I think we talked about that last week as well. Not going in 50-50. No.
50.
100. Actually, 102 and 102.
I so love it. I love it. Wow.
I'm trying to see if there's any questions. I don't see too many questions. You see any, Naomi?
No additional questions at the moment. Lots of comments. Those are definitely chiming in. Oh, I like this one from Kenya. I forgot to put this up.
Kenya said, I don't know if there's a double standard. I think it's something that a couple can work through. Just depends on the couple. Yeah, that goes back to what you were saying, Naomi, is an individual thing. Really, and I guess the key is what works for the two of you. Like you were saying, Kadesha, one and one, what works in that relationship. And again, you want to have people who agree and people who don't agree. So you two have to be solid on whatever decision it is that you come up with.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think we have one more comment that we can probably shut it down. Marriage is a lot of work, good or bad. I understand not wanting to put yourself in that level of work again when you are no longer married.
That might be going back to answer Mo's concern.
Yes, addressing Mo's concern. Y'all got a lot of wisdom too. We might be when wisdom talks, Y'all got a lot of wisdom too. We hear you. We hear you.
I love it. Oh, I so love it. All right.
Do we have time for one more?
One more comment or one more question?
One more question, or should we?
Okay, so no other questions, but I do have one other comment we can probably read. So a deal breaker, Kendra says, a deal breaker can also mean that person does not have the same access to you as they had before. And as Naomi said, each relationship is different in how they manage through anything.
Yeah.
That is true, because you can still be married and be broken up.
Come on now.
Ooh.
You're so protecting your heart that you don't let that person back in. So yeah,
you could like totally turn yourself off from that person.
Shut down.
Marriage, but your feelings and emotions are totally out of it. That is definitely.
And that brings up another issue then. Like, is that really a marriage? Like,
right.
Oh my gosh, if you done tuned out. Yeah, that's another topic in and of itself.
Yeah, y'all, we might have a part 2 of this. I see that.
I love it.
Is it time to shift gears?
Time to shift gears.
All right. Well, let's do that. Let's pick this up a little bit and move into our next segment, which I am just so excited about. Check this out, y'all. That's right. This is our next segment. It's Tell Me Something Good. And so last week, you all had the pleasure of hearing us kick this segment off with each of us telling a story, something that we came across that was birthed out of something that Alisha saw, for those who didn't watch last week on one of the morning shows, that each one of the hosts tell a story about something that they saw that they felt was interesting or inspiring or what have you. And so we're going to do the very same thing tonight. So who's first? Who's gonna?
I think I'll go ahead and kick this one off. So I think you all know that I'm analytical, but I also think that, you know, I also do some unconventional out of the box things sometimes. And I think this is why this particular story caught my eye this week. So this is a story about a city in Mississippi called Natchez, Mississippi. And it's known for its rich sunsets, its vibrant festivals, in addition to the big plantation style homes, you know, with the mansions. And so they're actually offering remote workers $6,000 to relocate to their city. And the $6,000 covers $2,500 in terms of moving expenses, and then a $300 a month stipend for a year. And now the caveat is that you have to establish residency there. You have to purchase a home that's at least $150,000, and you have to live there for a year. But the whole point being is, they said because of this pandemic, they've been hearing a lot of people complaining about living in a big city, in terms of the traffic, the cost of living, because, you know, a lot of people have lost their jobs or their pay has been cut. So money isn't going as far as it was before. And then a lot of people are complaining about the commute. So what they want to do is allow people to experience their city. So the interesting thing about it is actually called the Shift South. And this actually is the first city to actually develop this. But the thing that was interesting to me was that I thought about, well, is that something I would actually do? And I look at where I am now, and I probably would, because, you know, I could rent out my house. Now, if it wasn't for the pandemic, because there's a lot of issues going on with the pandemic, but, you know, you can actually move there. And what I found was that the cost of living there is $15,000 a year. Can you believe that? That's like $15,000 a year. The other piece of it is that if you were to compare that to cost of living nationally, for a single person is about $31,000. For a family of 4 is about $55,000. So $15,000, you can live a very affordable, enjoyable life, they say there. So I'm wondering if anybody in the chat, if you would say yay or nay as to whether you would do, I actually call it a social experiment. But actually pick up and do that at least for a year, where you get the living expenses taken care of or the moving expenses, and then you get a little monthly stipend, and you do your remote work from Natchez, Mississippi. It's only 30 slots available. So if anybody is interested, you could go ahead and Google Shift South program. It is legitimate.
Honey, let's make that 28 slots. Mike, go ahead and pack your bags. We'll be doing When Wisdom Talks from Mississippi. That is funny. That is awesome.
I thought that was really cool. I was like, that is different. I'm like, wow.
I think it's cool too, because, in this day and age, you need as many creative ways to earn income as you can. So if it means packing your bags and going to Mississippi, whatever it takes in some situations. So I think that's
something different.
That is something different. I love it. I'm gonna Google it.
Yes.
No, we're not going to Mississippi, but I think that's an awesome idea. Maybe, for somebody in their early 20s, no children, no real responsibilities, they can, put their home up, like you said, for rent, Airbnb. I mean, so many different things you can do. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
What did Kenya say? I know Kenya would definitely do it.
Yes, I love it.
Awesome.
All right. So what you have for us today, Kadesha?
So my Tell Me Something Good is about Sight and Sound theaters. So it's a family-owned, family-led theater company. And in a nutshell, for those of you who have never heard, it's basically bringing the characters from scripture to life in a play format. But it's not just your roundaway play theater, right? It's state-of-the-art technology, 2,000 seat auditorium, 300 feet stage, y'all, that surrounds the audience on 3 sides. And I've heard, because I haven't been yet, it's our plan to be there to go this month, but I heard that they even use live animals. And so it all started because the owner, Glenn, had a love for photography, for any of my photographers out there in the audience. And so he would sell his art pieces out of the trunk of his car. And so from there, they would move on to local churches and do local presentations with his photography. He would show on a slide projector. He had a turntable for music and just a simple microphone for narration, right? So that was kind of the unofficial start of Sight and Sound. So do not despise small beginnings.
I know that's right.
Then they started to go across, different states in the U.S. and take their production on the road. And so finally I think it was the late 70s, they opened up what was called the Living Waters Theater. And so it wasn't until the 80s that they actually did their first full-length Bible story called Behold the Lamb. But isn't it like life, where things are going good, moving forward, and then disaster comes? So in 1997, the theater burns down, right? But go ahead and type in the chat, but God.
But God.
Because God has a way of tearing things down, and he'll build it right back up 10 times better. And so they rebuilt that thing in about maybe a year and a half. And so that's what you see now, that state-of-the-art theater, the Sight and Sound, but not just one. They have 2 locations. So Lancaster, PA is going to be the closest for us here on the East Coast. And then they also have one in Branson, Missouri. And so I wanted to bring this up because starting tomorrow, February 12th, they are showing Queen Esther, the play. And so that will basically be their feature for this year. So anytime between tomorrow night up until December, you're able to watch Queen Esther. So I am so excited. I was texting hubby about it today. If it was up to me, I'll be there tomorrow. But we're going to plan and we're going to, schedule some time in the next few weeks to go. But I'm so looking forward to experience this in live and in color. But for those of you who are not quite ready, for those types of crowds, they do have what's pretty cool called Sight and Sound TV. And so you can watch their live shows or even some of their past shows that they've done, and you can watch it from the comfort of your home. So I'm excited about going to see Queen Esther. I know I got some queens out there. Go ahead and tip your crown. But it's going to be a phenomenal show. I'm almost guaranteeing it. I'm probably going to bring some tissues and everything else. But
Yes,
I'm looking forward to Sight and Sound. So you've been, right, Alisha?
I actually, it wasn't Sight and Sound. I was down at the Holy Land Experience in Orlando, Florida. They don't have the actual animals, but they do the live production plays.
Okay.
I've actually been a couple times, and I've even taken the children. We went to see The Christmas Story, and that was powerful. That was the last thing the kids and us did together, and they do use live animals, and we had an in-row seat. So Lily was like right there, and she wanted to touch. I said, you can't touch. But they really do, and it's all around you. The whole theater, it's the whole place is the theater. So you'll have stuff to the left of you, to the right of you, on the stage. It is beautiful. Nothing like it. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow. So if you want to go ahead and buy your tickets, and no, we're not getting paid for this, not yet. But if you want to go ahead and buy your tickets, sight-sound.com.
Woo, we claiming them as a sponsor.
I know that.
So in line with that, because y'all know I love all things media and all things entertainment. So this is for all the movie lovers. Get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready. Some good movies coming out in 2021. Now, I'm only going to talk about 2 because that's all I have time for, but I want y'all to get ready. So there is this musical that is going to be coming out called In the Heights. It's an upcoming American musical drama film directed by John Chu from a screenplay that was done some time ago. The film is based on the 2007 stage musical of the same name. And there are a lot of awesome stars that are going to be playing in that. In the Heights is scheduled to be released in the United States on June 18th, 2021 by Warner Brothers Pictures. It will be available on HBO Max the same day. Titus and I saw the trailer. It is amazing. It's going to be action. It's going to have a lot of great things in it, things that we can all as entrepreneurs relate to, because it is a story about a store owner who is in a small town and he is trying to figure out whether or not he wants to give up his store. So I'm encouraging you, get your popcorn, get ready. This is going to be great for all of those who love those musicals and things like that. The costumes are vibrant. It's just going to be
awesome.
So that's number 1. Now, number 2 is Respect. This movie is Aretha Franklin's story.
Oh, wow.
Upcoming American biographical drama film based on the life of the American singer. Some amazing directors, and Jennifer Hudson will be playing Aretha Franklin. So y'all know. Okay. If nothing else, y'all know it's going to be
some good singing.
Absolutely. And so you have Forrest Whitaker, Marlon Wayans, and there's some others that are going to be in it. So this is going to be definitely an amazing movie. Mary J. Blige and some others. Wow. This film is scheduled to be released in the United States on August the 13th, 2021. So I hope you get your popcorn together. Woo! Be ready.
Exciting. Oh my goodness.
I love it. Oh my goodness. It's almost time. So I guess
we're wrapping it up.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and just wrap it.
Oh, no Black History moment.
Let's do it. We can do it.
Yeah, do the Black History moment.
All right. So last week, of course, was the beginning of Black History Month. And so we're continuing on with that with another video for you voiced by Miss Lily B and produced by Be Inspired Global, one of the sponsors of the show. And so here we go.
Welcome to Be Inspired Global News. I'm Lily B. Shirley Chisholm was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. She became the first Black woman elected to Congress in 1968. After 4 years as the New York representative for the 12th Congressional District, primarily the Bed-Stuy neighborhood, Chisholm announced her run for the presidency. In that moment, she became the first Black candidate for president from a major party and the first female candidate to run for the Democratic Party's nomination. She won a total of 28 delegates during her run. After stepping down from Congress, Chisholm taught at Mount Holyoke and Spelman College. In 2015, she was awarded a posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama. Unbought and unbossed. Those words ring loudly in Shirley Chisholm's legacy. Thanks for watching. For more inspirational news, go to beinspiredglobal.media.
Black girl magic. Woohoo! Love it.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, ladies and gents, it has been another wonderful episode of When Wisdom Talks. If I can say so myself, I believe I can speak for the three of us and saying that we had a blast.
Absolutely.
Sharing and caring and encouraging and empowering you. Go ahead and mark your calendars for next Thursday, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Just go ahead and bring a friend or two. Just remember that this episode, When Wisdom Talks, was brought to you by Wisdom on the Wall, Inc. and Be Inspired Global. You can connect with us on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have prayer calls on both days. Monday, pop-up prayer at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe Naomi is going to pull up that phone number for us so you can write that down. If somebody can go ahead and put that in the chat for us, that'd be great. That number is 712-432-0075, and the code is 187975. Again, if someone can put that in the chat for us, that'd be great. But again, we will be back next Thursday, 8 p.m. We're excited. We're looking forward to doing life with you on Thursday evenings. So remember to stay safe, stay absolutely blessed, and most importantly, stay in faith.
Amen.
Until next time.
Bye.